Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of the Paper Straw Podcast. I'll be your host, Christian Tejares, and with me is my co-host, Ryan Epps. Ryan, how have you
You know,
been? It's been so long since we actually
yeah,
got
it's
together.
you know, it feels good to be back kind of, right? It feels good to kind of be back in this digital space.
Yeah,
Maybe that,
it felt
maybe
more like
maybe we should
like
put on
therapy for
suits.
us
I think we should go put on suits.
for the next time.
It it might make the video better. I don't know. It's from what I've heard. I hear putting on suits makes the video better. I don't
Yeah, the last time I did that, I got fired. Well, no one's gonna be
Oh man.
firing us now, right? You can wear what we want, say
Yeah,
what we want
no
here.
one's gonna tell us what topics we should say, right?
So how was your week? What have you been up to? Like a lot.
Just the usual, man. Reviewing tech, reviewing tech. I got this cool ass camera right here, and got another camera
What's the
behind
name of
me.
that camera,
That
by
camera,
the way?
probably could see it actually. This thing, action cam.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on the bike and kind of ride around later at night. But yeah,
Well, speaking of a lot of shit actually happened this week.
yeah,
And just
oh yeah,
recently, like a major player uh, and
oh,
the computer
you
hardware
talking about
community actually,
Linus? Now, before we get into it, you know, if you're talking about big tech influencers, right?
yep,
Who would you call the number one, right? Who would you say is like the top when you're going to like maybe purchase a new product or maybe a new phone's coming out, something like that. Who are you gonna go to Linus Tech Tips? You're gonna go to, Gamers Nexus? Who are you going to?
in all honesty, I only been aware of Linus. I think pretty much everyone had their first experience with him because of that
Yeah,
damn red fire truck RC
I
thing.
don't know.
This is I was this back in 2012 where he actually
I don't know.
reviewed a fire truck. I never actually saw him as someone that I actually can go to for tips regarding uh, hardware purchases.
Yeah,
He's more to me like how Top Gear was for cars. Like they're more of an entertainment side of things,
exactly. That's the funny
right?
thing. It's like over the past couple days, I've realized, at least from what other people have said, that Linus is more leaning to the entertainment side, right? my
Especially
my
now.
initial point with that question was the fact that MKHB is more of a tech influencer, right? Like he is the guy you go to when
Yeah.
you're even cars, right? He's got a channel for cars. Like this is the guy you go to, MKHB. Whereas Linus, I personally don't watch him as much, and when I do, it's like a video where it's like one of those one-offs. And I was talking about this the other day. Like I kind of like watching Linus with his live streams build a PC as opposed to like
Yep.
his videos. Um, so yeah, it's funny because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, top tech guy." Like, no, like that's MKHB. Like MKHB is the tech YouTuber, right? Like that is. I mean, even Casey Neistat, you could say, right? Even Casey
Yeah.
Neistat could be up there. I mean, yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like this whole conversation has kind of proved to me that like Linus is more of an entertainer than he is a reviewer, a tech reviewer, as it were.
Like every time I see Linus actually building a PC, I feel like I'm watching someone pull legs off a spider. Like this is basically every device or every equipment that he has is basically just torturing hardware.
Oh yeah, and that's why I like watching those one-off stuffs, like the actually funny enough, the billet, Billy Bid or whatever, the
Yeah.
kind of what he's under fire for right now. Um, using a sort of a what's the word? An AIO, I believe. It's like an AIO, but uses some sort of right. I forget the whole. It's like a prototype. He essentially used some prototype and kind of bashes the company despite using the wrong GPU. Like I feel like that's just not. I feel like that happens a lot during Linus stuff. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
there's some other
So
live
let's
stream I saw where there's something he was building a PC and they didn't have the right part, and he's like, let's just do it. And it's like that's not how it works, man. Like you know,
Yeah, so let's go back to 24 hours ago. Like Gamers Nexus,
Yeah,
particularly Steve, actually released a very spicy video regarding Linus Media Group. A couple of errors, data errors, which all
more than a
started,
couple, more than a couple.
started ironically from a labs tour for LTX, which
Yeah.
was
Yeah, it's funny. They jabbed at Gamers Nexus and someone else, I think Hardware Unboxed or someone else. And like
yeah, hardware unboxed. Like it was during a lab tour where someone tried to be Chris Rock and actually got
yeah,
treated like Chris Rock at the Oscars. Like someone
yeah.
made a smart remark. I
Which
think he felt that way.
like
Was it
I don't
Tim
understand
Hallerchuk?
what I guess I'd have to watch that live stream, but I don't really understand what the point of him saying that was. And Linus never even came out and denounced those statements or fired the guy or I
They
don't know,
did
like
in
there
one of
there's
their
so many different ways you can
WAN
take that.
shows. Lions did actually address what Tim actually said, and there was a much bigger context to why he made that statement
Was
because
it?
someone was actually asking them how they can differentiate themselves with the rest of the tech reviewer space. Like they have this much funding, they have this laboratory being built. So I think on passing, he Tim just suddenly mentioned just two YouTubers without actually
Thinking about
stressing
it.
on the context of why he
Yeah.
actually name dropped them. But it is still I kind of feel that it's a poor choice of time to make humor
Oh,
regarding
I mean,
someone
there's
that
just
are,
no, I mean,
and take note,
just
two
bringing,
entities
I
that
don't
are
understand.
really reputable.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily still make the same sentence, right? Without
Yep.
mentioning anybody. You don't have to mention anybody, right? You don't. They didn't have to mention Gamers Nexus. They don't have to mention Hardware and Box. They could have just said, "Oh, this is how we set ourselves apart." Naming names actually just proves the fact that you kind of don't believe in your own name,
Yeah.
right? Like the fact that they're pointing fingers kind of proves that, like, oh, maybe you do actually, in deep down, think that these guys are better, have better, labs, have better pipelines, whatever it be. Um, it's like it's why even mention that? So if you think you're higher or better than these people, like show don't tell, right? My mother always told me that show don't tell, right?
Yeah, maybe next time
Clearly
when you're gonna
from the
do a labs
videos, like
tour. Yeah, maybe
yeah,
next
it's
time we're
like
gonna do a labs tour. Just when you have an engineer then there, also have a PR person besides him to actually make
yeah.
statements. It
Well,
wasn't
Linus is very much known for never taking the blame, never taking criticism lightly. That is one thing that I have seen. Even though I don't really follow Linus or his content that much, it's clear that he can't take criticism very well. He never has.
how old is he, by the way? Like, I don't think he's much
I'm gonna
older
say
than
in
me.
his 40s, but I could be wrong.
Early 40s,
I have no idea. Let me
late
look it up.
30s.
Let me see.
Like he still uses
Linus
forums, by the
age.
way. So we could
Let's see.
probably date him.
36 years old. Yeah, so 36 years old.
See? So I kind of feel that it was just a poor choice of inside humor for them, since everyone that's on the tours are probably creators who actually
I don't even know. I don't even know if you could call it humor.
an attempt at it.
I don't even. I honestly think this guy
Is
was
it
just trying to jab at this
other
company. Like I don't, you know what I mean?
than
Like I
being
don't think it
humor?
was in.
Is it,
It wasn't in humor. It wasn't in like bad taste or anything. It was just they were just jabbing at. It's not the first time that that's happened before. I believe again I could be wrong, but I believe that they've had issues right with Gamers Nexus specifically, where Linus cohorts have said something about Gamers Nexus, and I feel like they just never had a good relationship to begin with. Which I mean, again, they're in the same business, so they're going to be
yeah.
competing for views, but there's no need to draw attention, to faults of another place, right? Unless you're doing it in private, and that's the other thing too. It's like Linus is known for getting up there on the WAN show or getting up there even, whatever it be live and like kind of bashing his employees. there was one employee that kind of left. I think he was an editor. I forget his name, but I remember when that happened, and it's just like I don't know, like it always rubbed me the wrong way how this guy left and like how Linus kind of handled that situation. This was a while ago, but it kind of opened my eyes to like you know we can all
How did
sit here
he?
and say
Yeah, how did he
Linus is a
handle that
great
situation?
creator.
By the way, I wasn't actually aware of it, of that employee.
Yeah, yeah. We can all sit here. Linus is a great creator, right? He created a
He's a good
tentatively
personality
potentially
on
$100
camera.
million company, right? But um, he's still an asshole. Like that's that's right. I mean, like, we can all say he's a great content creator, but he's still an asshole. Like
Yeah,
that,
I
it's
think that's
clear to me that he's kind of an asshole.
I think that's the reason why he's actually an effective content creator because ever
Yeah.
heard of the saying insanity
Well, he's very funny.
photographs?
He's very funny. He's witty, and he knows how to like handle people, like handle. And obviously, he knows technology. It's not like he doesn't know technology. I think he needs to get better script writers or better, quality control type people, right? Like, I mean, even a video that was released yesterday had issues.
Yeah, going back to the entire Gamers Nexus video, Steve actually made a good point. Like, why even do asterisk in the video? It means that you've already caught that
Mm.
issue during filming. Why not do a quick edit of it to
See, I
actually correct
understand
the
to some
statement?
degree because, like, for some parts you would have to like edit the entire video. Um, but yeah, I mean,
There were
it
some
just
parts
I
that
don't
there
know.
were. I've seen some videos that had errors on them. They never had the reviewers the face in the camera. It was sometimes it's just a product shot. They could have just easily dubbed over it or done
I don't know,
a
man.
quick
I don't
voiceover
know. Yeah, but that could have cost 100, 200, $500 though. So
for a quick voiceover.
I'm being
Are
funny.
these guys paid per syllable and not per hour?
I see.
Like some of them are actually mechanical engineers that are going in front of the camera. Are they
Really?
paid different per project or per video? Some of them are actually
I mean, most of those people that work for Linus probably are all on salary, right? I mean, I'd hope. I'd
like then a
hope.
quick dub of a 10-second clip would have cost them that much. Like, that's another thing. Like regarding cost, would it hurt him that much for a couple of, let's say, paying additional $200 for a quick re-edit when the videos that he
No.
has already,
And
right?
I think that's the point, right? That's why people are kind of angry because like what's 200 or even $500 to you when you make I don't know, like probably 100,000 a week, maybe more. Like I don't know. I don't have no idea. That's probably actually a lot, but still, they have 6 or 7 channels. That's beyond their merch. They have a merch stuff. Like it's like they clearly aren't like in a terrible
Yeah, how
spot. It's
many
like
of
five hundred
those?
dollars to redo a video
Yeah,
isn't asking much.
yeah, how many of those channels are actually more than 1 million subs, right? Imagine that.
I think a good portion of them. I think a good portion of them.
When it comes to
See.
brands partnerships, they're not actually drying out. So in a
And his
sense,
response, dude, Linus's response was just so bad, man.
yeah, all he needed was actually a ukulele there.
Excuse me.
It would have
Yeah.
beaten the worst apology. It's a non-apology letter. And yeah, right after that written response, I think I just watched the video from Steve based on this weekend a news update, right?
The more recent, the video he put up today,
The
essentially.
most recent one. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of issues when it comes to that response. Like even the billet thing seems to not have been addressed in the same at the same time.
Yeah. Isn't
There are
that
a
so
lot of false
weird?
claims on it.
Like how do you at least have two email chains, right? Like that's at least
Yeah,
what Steve said in his video, that at least they had contact with him saying, we'll get you the thing back, right? Um, and then they still auctioned it off. It's like, honestly, that feels on purpose. Like to me, that looks and feels like it was just on purpose. Like fuck these guys, I'm just gonna auction this shit. Like if I'm being straight, I do think that they did that without giving a fuck. You know what I mean? Like
And it's a startup
it's just like
company, by the
it
way.
doesn't
Like
make
if
sense to me how a company can drop the ball that badly, especially for something so expensive and a prototype. Like
yeah,
what?
it's kind of irresponsible to actually auction up a prototype, considering a
At all.
competitor might snatch it up. No matter
And
how
that's
useless,
might have
no matter
might have
how
what happened.
useless, no matter how useless Linus think that prototype is, for someone, they already have the blueprint on how to
They
correct
could
it,
sue him.
and he could be sued.
Yeah, big time. Especially if their IP, their intellectual property was stolen because of this auction. Again, we have no clue how accurate that is. Just going off of what Steve said, how that is a possibility that a rival company could have easily purchased this prototype and re-engineered it, essentially reverse engineered it, I should say.
But he kind of
Um,
Linus have actually kind of admitted that they were in the wrong here, because he just based things on semantics, like selling and
it's the way he
auctioning.
worded
And
stuff.
in all honesty, it's just the same thing. It's just the degree of the amount that is going to be purchased that's going to be
And
affected.
his what really pissed me off was his statement about journalism, how Steve should have came
Hmm.
to him first. Like, no, that's not how it
Why?
works. Yeah, that's not how it works. That is actually the exact opposite. Because one, I mean, sure, we might want a statement, right? In journalism, you're gonna want a statement. Like if Rockstar Games gets hacked, you're gonna want to talk to Rockstar Games. Um, but if you're talking about some sort of scandal or maybe even like incompetence on the part of like a YouTube channel, what are you gonna
And
get out of that
whether,
person? They're just
if we
they're
think
just gonna
about it,
blow you off.
yeah, and if we think about it, whether Steve actually approached Linus personally, it wouldn't actually erase the fact of the data errors that they've had before. It would still
Yeah,
remain, right?
yeah. I mean, clearly, like I said, one of their brand new videos, the mic, the more recent video about a mic, had issues. So they brought up Amazon reviews, and there was three reviews like that they
Yeah.
pictured, and two of them were the same exact review. Like, how do you miss
No, I
that?
never actually
How do you
noticed
miss
that.
that?
I never
Huh?
actually noticed that during the video. Like I said, I'm
Yeah,
just using Linus for
I
entertainment, and I'm
I
not
didn't
actually
watch the
looking at
video.
the stats.
I am going on all this stuff that I'm saying is essentially going off of what I've seen now, kind of blowing up because I am in the Linus Tech Tips Reddit page. I'm in there the Reddit.
Yeah.
Um, and of course it's kind of blowing up. It's funny, Bright. I can't see their name, but the company that essentially gave them their property, their product, the prototype.
Yeah.
They put a post in there in Linus saying, thanks for all the support, blah blah blah. It's like it's kind of cool. Kind of cool that like even though it's kind of a shit show right now, that at least like the company can come out and be like, hey, thanks to these guys, thanks for the community, like beyond what like happened, like at least there's some silver lining to it. At least like the actual reality came to light, which I find kind of cool. I don't know.
And the arrogance of just stating that we could have tested this a bit more regarding the billet stuff. We just don't want people to buy it. Like, why even make that statement for a startup
Yeah,
company? This is just their
that's just
prototype.
fucked up.
That's just
That's
fucked
just
up,
fucked up.
right? You were there to actually review it. Regardless you find errors or not, you reviewed it. They now have findings on what they could correct their product on. Like you
Yeah,
deliberately wanting people to not buy stuff that's not even at retail potential yet. It's
as someone who
just
reviews
fucked
stuff
up.
all the time, um, companies love feedback. Companies
Yeah.
love that because how are they going to improve? How are they going to improve the product, right? I mean, just because you want to say that it's shit. I mean, again, I feel like this is just Linus being his dickhead self,
Yeah, and
right? He
imagine
was wrong.
imagine the
He was
balls of
incorrect.
actually sending a product over to Linus. And since it's been known to actually torture products,
Yeah.
dropping things is the least that he's actually doing. The
I
least
mean, I love how that's
statistic
kind of an
in
inside joke,
regarding
but
hardware.
like, yeah, the guy knows his technology. Don't get me wrong, but that
Yeah,
doesn't
he knows it.
excuse him from being a dickhead.
You're asking me who I usually watch when I'm actually making a purchase. It'd be either Gamers Nexus or Jay's 2 cents.
Oh, I love Jay's two cents.
Usually,
Yeah, I
right?
haven't watched him more. I haven't. I kind of thing is, I kind of have stopped watching more hardware video content. Just because it's kind of a lull period right now. We're kind of waiting for AMD to drop their new GPUs, which probably won't come out to next year. So it's like it was weird time. So like most of the content right now is just kind of like people having fun. Like Jay's 2 cents, his content always is always some cool, fun stuff. Like
You
he
know,
loves
I like in
what?
Jay's 2 cents content, the softcore porn for PCs. It's
Yeah,
slow.
yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah. He
It's
loves
aesthetically
testing out
pleasing.
weird cases. He loves testing out like just weird shit. Like one monitor, he had a
Yeah.
portable monitor that kind of like stuck out, like it was three. I remember that video. That was pretty good. That's pretty fun. But
And
yeah,
if
I
I
mean,
want data sets, I could just easily go to Gamers Nexus.
yep,
That's just it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like him because I know it. They've been ribbing on the guy, Steve, for the way he talks is monotonous. I couldn't even do better. I'm also on the same boat.
What do you mean?
I'm s- I'm also monotonous when it comes to my voice.
Oh, monotone. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's not like he's not funny. I don't know, he's not like he's
but
not
I do
informative.
trust him
I
because
don't
of
go
it.
to him to like, yeah, I'm not going to his videos to hear a soft, good voice or something. All
Yeah,
I want is the information that I want. It has nothing to do with entertainment, right? I mean, I
yeah,
think
because
that's
his
like kind of
voice
the
is actually
disconnect.
every PC guy I actually met in my life. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and
like,
looks the part. He does. He looks the part.
So do you ever think this would damage LMG? Like one thing that we're
Oh,
gonna have to point out here,
oh, big, big.
The CEO still hasn't
I
made
would
any
I would
statement.
kill to be a fly on the wall right now at the company because I can't imagine the office was today. I just can't imagine. Um, I'm sure Linus reamed them out, right? Despite the fact that in reality, it kind of is his leadership that led. I understand that like he is not the CEO anymore, but it is still his leadership, his company, that led to this, right? So, and another thing, even though I have no idea how accurate this is coming off of a Reddit comment, so I have no
Yeah,
idea how accurate this is, but I do know um that he has been hiring a lot lately because they did get new space. And when you comes to new when you're hiring a ton of people like that, you're going to have a lot of, bottlenecks, a lot of problems in the pipeline. Some people are new, they're still getting used to the stuff or just they're not good, right? So I can give him the benefit of the doubt there with hiring a lot of people. Some other people left, right? So that it comes with the territory when you're going to have a shit ton of people, especially if it's unnecessary. Um, but how accurate that is, I don't know, because even a lot of the videos that Steve showed were a bit well before, I think, like even the hiring spree. So again, I have no idea how accurate that statement is, but I thought it was interesting. I thought, it's very accurate, right? I mean, you hire a ton of people, the work might not get you might not get the same value out of that out of those workers. If that makes sense.
yeah. I'm kind of curious right now because Linus actually made a blanket statement. They will not be addressing this on their WAN show. Like,
Oh, they will.
can he
I know he
actually
said
hold
that, but
back
it's
at
like,
this
how do
point?
you not?
Right?
And I hate the fact that someone else made this uh apparent as well, that Linus is surrounded by yes men, and that's such a it's such a terrible problem, right? When you're surrounded by yes men, look at Andrew Tate, surrounded by yes men, like that feeds that ego, and it's just never good. That's more of the reason why he's kind of an asshole now, I'm sure, because he has all these
I kind of
yes
think
men.
that the arrogance is actually infectious within their
Oh,
circle.
for sure, for sure.
Because I watched that labs tour, and I kind of felt everyone was actually being disingenuous when it comes to providing a tour.
What is this?
It kind of felt like there's a a bit of arrogance when they're actually presenting things.
Oh yeah, 100%,
I don't know if
100%.
it's just me that actually felt it while watching that video, but there is a bit of air when it comes to how people talk during that tour. And the only person that I felt that was actually being genuine was actually Emily,
Emily,
formerly
that's the one
known
they
as
picked up.
Anthony.
She was like a streamer, right?
Who?
Emily was like a streamer or whatever. Like she,
Emily
I know
was
that she.
Emily is Anthony. You remember Anthony? She
Oh, that's
transitioned.
right. That's right.
I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
do.
the
I like
second time
him. I
people
like
saw her.
him. Or her, I
He
should
was
say. I'm sorry.
he was actually the reason why I actually uh started watching LTT religiously, because
Yeah.
he's pretty much of my era when it comes to PCs, when it comes to
He has a
hardware
great video
knowledge,
on their channel about
software.
like emulation.
Like my personal favorite was actually Windows 98. Was it
Yeah,
98 or
that's another. Yep.
95, right? It's a good video.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
kind of nice
I,
nostalgia trip. If they can
I
get
thought
back
you
to
were
that
talking
type
about
of
another. There's
content,
a they have somebody there. I forget who it is, but there's a female they picked up. So they, you know how Linus like builds a PC with somebody sometimes. Um, there was
was what
some chick that they built a PC with, and like she was just energetic, funny as hell. Riffed
was
off
it
Linus very well. I
the
forget her name,
the
but
competition for the
they essentially
ROG
hired her.
tricks?
What?
They did hire her, the contestant that won.
I think so. Yeah, I'm
I
pretty
think
sure
we're
she works
talking
there
about the
now.
same person, right? The
I think I don't know. Yeah,
the one that made
I had
Linus
no idea
say
what her
he's
name was, but I
nuts.
do know that she like streamed for a bit. She was a streamer, and then they picked her up. Yeah. So I have no idea if she still works
Hmm.
there. I don't know, but I do know that she was a good hire for them.
Don't think so. She's hard. She's not part of the roster of employees. Well, she should have been.
I could have sworn she got picked up. I'm pretty sure she was hired by them. I have no idea what her name was.
They have a lot of personalities within their team.
Yeah. But like they
Like,
rarely use those personalities, I feel like, especially of late. You know, it used to be you'd have some videos with like I'm terrible with these guys' names. I'm not gonna remember their names. But there was three or four other creators that they had under their belt. And now I feel like every video is just Linus. Like, am I
yeah,
wrong
because
with
I
it?
think
Like,
this is pretty much what he wanted when he stepped down as CEO, right? He
yeah.
wanted to be a part of everything as much as possible. Like, this is basically his dream, just being on camera most of the time.
Yeah, literally every video is Linus, or at least Linus in the screenshots. But yeah, there's used to be
Right?
some really good. God damn, there's a fly in here. There used to be some really good videos of them like retrofitting their rooms in their houses. I think I don't know if it was Windows. Someone sponsored it. I forget who.
Yeah,
Intel
it would
maybe. I
be
think it was
the
Intel.
Intel and AMD upgrade series, right?
Yes, yeah.
Either the two.
Those were some really good videos. I liked watching those.
Yeah, because those I think are some real interactions. The thing
Wow.
that
Okay, so I have been scrolling this whole time. 7 months ago is the last video that has someone else in the, other than Linus, someone else in the featured image. Obviously, there are other screenshots and stuff that have other people with Linus. But I scrolled all the way down, and 7 months ago, this is the video that has someone else. I forget his name, but this guy.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
I predict in the next couple of days, someone will be compiling all of Linus's bad hot takes when it comes to these things. It's kind of
I
impossible
hope
not to,
so.
like, he did say that he's not for giving hot takes when it comes to issues, but during their WAN show, it's a 3 hour show. It's impossible you don't give one, at least
Is it
one.
3 hours? Well, this is why I
Sometimes they go
watch the Wayne Show.
3 hours.
I don't understand why how they can go for
Even
that
in
long.
an hour. It's impossible not to provide a very hot take opinion on some topics.
Yeah, man, I don't
So,
know.
well, I guess we're just gonna have to see in the upcoming days how this would unfold. Like Gamers Nexus did make in their last video a statement they were not gonna be uh, pursuing this anymore. They just wanted to get this word out, which me as part of
Which I
the
mean, listen, if you're a company or even a YouTube channel that's been called out for something, the best route is to kind of ignore it, right? If you ignore it, people are going to forget about it, you know? But I think this is a little bit too big and too close to home to kind of just sweep under the rug, right? Um, Especially when it's like multiple videos.
yeah.
It's not just one instance. This is multiple videos, and like you actually are influencing people's purchasing choices.
Yeah, that's why I appreciate what Gamers Nexus has done because as a consumer, like yeah, as a consumer, either me as a consumer wouldn't actually look at LTT for actually consumer stuff,
Yeah.
just entertainment. They're basically just a top gear. Like I said, the top gear of the computer world. It's kind of surprising that Jay hasn't joined the fray here.
Oh, he did.
He did?
He did. Yeah. I'm not, I don't know if I'll be able to find it. I don't know. I saw it on Reddit, but he did make several comments about it. Fuck.
Like us, this would be our first episode, and during this issue, when it occurred, it's not actually surprising that Hardware Unboxed suddenly launched their own podcast.
Yeah, and what was the first topic they like brought up, right? I mean,
Talk about capitalizing a situation, huh?
uh,
Kudos to them. It's actually beneficial. I was actually surprised they haven't done it yet.
Linus, see if I can find it. Comment on the GN video. Yeah, here we go. So I'll read it. I'll read it right now. This is what he said. Steve and crew, I waited to watch this video until after finishing my creative for the day so I could go into with a clear mind. As someone who has made many mistakes, and honestly, I'm working hard to limit them as much as
Excuse
possible.
me, Ryan. This actually feels like a disappointed dad actually left you a note in your bed.
The way I'm reading it. Okay. Mistakes, and honestly, I'm working hard to limit them as much as possible. I have to say that I genuinely appreciate your attention to detail regarding examples and the insight, not only from your perspective and expertise, but the insight presented in various clips from LMG, but also your offering of advice on how to be better reviewer overall. As someone who simply cannot provide the level of detail that you do, it gives me something to constantly strive for. I sincerely hope that Linus Media Group doesn't take this as an attack, but a real eye opener on a broader problem they may not be as evident from their end. As the Walmart greeter to the tech world, I'm glad you are managing the service department. And funny he said that because so that came out. I read that after having already read Linus's response. And it's funny how he says that. Like, I hope they don't take it as an attack. Literally, the first comment on this Reddit post. Too late. Linus already took it as an attack, as per usual.
Like it's like they don't know the guy,
Yeah, I know.
right?
Yeah, I mean, but you'd think I don't know. You'd think he'd be a little Linus. That is, you'd think he'd be a little humbled. Um, when his company is in the crosshairs like this. I don't know. Like it's a weird situation.
Like there's a
Like
certain
you don't want to admit to fault because it makes you and your company look kind of bad, but at the same time, you should take responsibility. I mean, listen, go to the just go to Linus Tech Tips Reddit page and you'll see he's getting flamed
I kind of feel like
Like
he just grew too
I
fast.
would say a lot.
He just grew too fast as a personality, and I think this is his way to cope with it.
Well,
Like,
this is something we were talking about earlier, is the fact that he's an entertainer. You know,
yeah, he's more of an
he's not a
entertainer.
tech reviewer. He's an entertainer. He entertains people. He's funny. He's he's witty. He's not necessarily, you know, I mean, he's tech savvy, sure, but I feel like his content is more geared to. I mean, just look at the featured images. Go to Linus Tech Tips and look at the featured images.
He's more in
These
tune,
all
I
look
think,
like
with
fun videos.
although he knows computers so much, I think people might be discounting the fact that he knows much more regarding marketing than computers.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, computers can just be a topic for him. Like, it's just gonna be knowledge for him. But in regards to marketing, it's just second nature and
Yeah.
business acumen because this isn't his only investment. He has others, which goes into another realm where Gamers Nexus actually pointed out a lot of business conflicts actually can arise with some of his investments. Like, he's invested, albeit from what I've heard, his own money into framework, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well,
While
I mean,
also revealing,
the fact that he's selling a screwdriver, right? That's paired up or partnered
yeah,
up
with
with
Noctua,
what's it called?
while also
Whatever the
promoting
company's called.
Noctua.
Yeah. I mean, that's just I don't know. It's just not immoral, but definitely compromising to a degree, right? I mean, how do you
Is that the
review?
reason why they don't actually use that much, that many AIO in their builds, and it's usually just
Yeah,
air
yeah,
build? Have you noticed
maybe.
it?
I mean, maybe.
Like, yeah, just notice it regarding the Noctua thing, and with them claiming that it's the best air cooler there is. Yeah, hopefully we get more out of Linus. Like, Steve did mention that getting getting something out of this, it should just be a 10-point guideline for them to correct things. And like, Grandpa Jay already said it, he hopes it didn't turn out into an attack. Yeah, too late.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, with this amount of ego, it's impossible not
And
to take it
and
as
I
such.
think and it's not a problem on gamer or Steve's part, Gamers Nexus part, right? I mean,
It's
he
not.
said throughout the video multiple times he's not trying to attack them. He's literally trying to help them. To see the error in their ways, to fix how they approach reviews. It had nothing to do with, oh, I'm a better channel, right? It had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with the fact that he cared for Linus's community. Interestingly, right? More so, or even just the broader tech community on YouTube. Like, he cared about that, and that's kind of like it says a lot about Steve and his channel, and how they approach, just their community too, right? I mean, clearly they give a shit, right? Whereas Linus, maybe not so much, right? Maybe not so much. Maybe it's more about the content. Maybe it's more about the, just the monetary gain, as opposed to actually giving worthwhile information.
Well,
Sure, you're a company, you're supposed to make money, but you're not supposed to steer them in the wrong way at all, right? God damn it, I need a fly swatter or something.
well, maybe Linus' intent from the start was actually genuine with regards to community building. Well, anyway, that will be the end for us right now for the very first episode. Hopefully next week we get Chris on board, right? To be
Yeah,
back to a trio.
we need
So from
some guests.
yeah, and some guests. Well, anyway, uh, uh, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Paper Straw
Paper
Podcast.
straws, baby. Yeah, man.
Have a good one,
Have a nice
guys.
day. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.